Madam, please come here. So before we start, happy Guru Purnima to all. And I will start with very, very positive news today. At today's auspicious day, we are getting good donation from Maniben Jatsi Nanji Maru, Haste, Adi Shashank and Veer Shashank Maru, and 31 lakhs rupees check. We'll start with the today auspicious day. Please, Nimesh Bhai, our president. Both kids are here. Oh, good. Adi and Shashank. And the chairman, Sri Chandrakant Bhai and Nimesh, president, is accepting the check. This is a Gnan Dravya, which on the auspicious day of Guru Purnima, the institution gets it. Visionary chairman of Sri Hirji Bhojraj and Sons Kaviyo Jain Chhatralaya, Sri Chandrakant Bhai Gogri, Sri Deepak Bhai Beda, Vice Chairman, Managing Trustee Sri Naveen Bhai and Rohit Bhai, my fellow trustees and all managing committee members, ever positive principal and ever active principal Prachi Madam, our education consultant SLN Enterprise Sri Hussain Bhai and Farzana Ma'am, our distinguished guest and today's guest Sri Jayant Bhai and Anil Bhai, Sunil Bhai, sorry. Sunil Bhai from Navneet Prakashan, pioneer in the education field. All invited guests, Sri Vignesh Bhai, my brother, President Thanakwasi Jain Majan, donor trustee, and my other fellow trustees, all the parents, teachers, staff, and above all, student of the 11th class ISC. It's my indeed pleasure and privilege to welcome you all at the opening ceremony of 11th Standard ISC Board. Today is monument and important day, not only for us, but for the Institute of SHISHUVAN. And we hope that with the support and help of principal and all of you and teachers and staff, I have no doubt that this institution will scale newer and newer peaks in coming time. Today, we are going to add one more feather in the cap of SHISHUVAN, and being a Guru Purnima day, we are doing at the very, very auspicious day. So, big hand for that. For the students, I will say that This is the new chapter, beginning of new chapter in your life. But you need not to be excellent in all the field. You have to not compete with others, but you have to compete with yourself. Be stick to values, stick to principle, stick to character, and you will find and you will realize, and in one day you will excel in the field of education and even in the life which is ahead of you. I hope and pray that you will excel in your studies and make this institution proud by making best efforts and giving good results. Thank you very much. And now I will invite Hussain Bhai, consultant, SLN Foundation, to give a brief presentation on 11th standard and 12th standard ISC board. Hussain Bhai, please come, and mic is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Sudhir Bhai. So very warm welcome. It's nice to see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of students. We've been counseling and interacting with them over the last 4 to 5 months in terms of the value and why SHISHUVAN, which is a legacy school, it's been established so many years back. Why did a legacy school take the step of beginning an ISC program? How is this program going to help the child? Like, Sudhir Bhai touched upon a few very important elements, because we are not only looking at academic development, but all round. So in this short presentation, I'll just touch upon some of those areas in terms of why, as a parent, and why should you look at ISC, and what can you expect from the SHISHUVAN ISC program. So just a snapshot of the subjects that we are offering for this academic session. So unlike So you will need to pardon me, I'm a true teacher. I'll never stand on one side of the classroom. I'll keep moving around up and down. So what we are doing for this academic session is we've looked at these subject areas for ISC. Now, unlike the other traditional, when we look at junior college or when we look at any other program, it is very stream specific. So a science student will not do a arts or a humanities subject. Similarly, a commerce student doesn't get exposed to analytical thinking, etc., which is the domain of some of these subjects. What we have looked at doing through the ISC program is having some core subjects, but also allowing students, like a student who wants to do science, we are giving them an opportunity of also, if they want to do business or commerce, SHISHUVAN will be one of the few schools which is giving that opportunity. Because I think business is so very important, irrespective of which domain you go into. So that's how, that's the thought process. So when we do individual counseling with a lot of parents, that's how we've looked at, formulating our subjects. We've also introduced psychology. So our first thing was that this program has been created for our own students in class 10. And we had a couple of parents who are very keen on psychology. And that's where we introduced, though we are not starting that stream, but we introduced that subject. So with psychology, students can do couple of subjects from here, couple from here, and create an altogether different combination. And this is the way education is progressing in our country, where we move away from very discipline-specific subjects to things where there is a lot of interdisciplinary learning. And that's the entire thought process behind how we have allowed students to actually select their subjects so that they can pursue. Today in India, there are colleges which offer something called liberal arts, where you can major in arts and sciences together. It's something which is very popular in the West, still slowly gaining popularity in India. So our thought process is that's the future of education, and how do we nurture our children and give them that kind of exposure in terms of subjects, and that's the entire idea behind this combination. Now the other part is also with ISC, one of the biggest advantages is is basically project-based learning. In every subject area, students will be doing a hands-on project. Now, when we talk, SHISHUVAN had also done IB, so many of us are familiar with IB or why international education is so good. The main reason for international education gaining popularity is because children learn by actually doing things. They learn through projects where they get an opportunity of applying the concepts that they have learned in the class into the real world. And ISC, through its project methodology, allows students that opportunity. So if I've learned something in business studies or in accounting, I'm getting an opportunity of actually applying that, and that's essentially what we want our children to excel at. Not to excel at mugging concepts, but how do you apply concepts? And that's where ISC as a program really stands out. So this is just a summary. I'll not get into the details of the assessment, but as you see, this is what I'm talking about, the project work. And this is something which, as an institution, it really attracted us to go for this program compared to the other high school programs that are currently available in the country. Now, just to give you a snapshot of how we are looking at holistic development at ISC. So obviously, students will be doing 5 subjects. So they will be getting their academic experience or exposure to those 5 subjects. There is also, so we've appointed Ms. Tejal. Ms. Tejal? Yes. You can just come up quickly. So she will be actually looking after our SUPW and events. We've curated an entire program that she will be leading to ensure students get these diverse experiences outside the classroom. Thank you, Tejal. So I just wanted to quickly introduce, so she's someone who's just joined the school. Talking about curricular experiences, so again, we've got a very experienced hand, Ms. Aarti. So Ms. Aarti is our ISC coordinator. You can please just step up quickly. I'll just introduce these 2 key people and then we'll move on. So Ms. Aarti and Ms. Tejal both have been teaching ISC for a long, long time. So they bring that experience and she will be also leading. She's already met a lot of parents. She's met a lot of children with me. She's also doing a lot of counseling in terms of the right selection of subjects. So I think her wealth of experience bodes very well for the future of the ISC in the school. Thank you, Ms. Aarti. We are also looking at inter-school competitions. So there is a University of Waterloo in Canada. They hold something called how we have Olympiad exams in India. But obviously now these are, I think the kind of level that these Olympiads are actually running at is not really high. They're not really regarded in the market or by universities. Waterloo runs these international math exams, Einstein exam for physics, etc. We will be registering our school and our students for those exams, completely optional for children. It just costs around $15 to $20 for that exam, but really helps when I'm looking at the child. How do I give that child the edge? How do I prepare him for the next chapter? And so those are the kind of things that we are curating as part of our overall ISC experience. Now these are some of the other things. As you see our school timetable, we've looked at a 5-day working week for ISC, Monday to Friday, and 2 Saturdays in a month. Now, I know for some parents, Saturdays always is that, there are other classes, etc. The reason we've looked at that Saturday is allowing us time to look at some of these life skill development in students. So we have a structured program for grooming that our company has actually curated with a company in Washington, where we've created a curriculum, and this is something which slowly we would also want to introduce with our younger children. How do you behave in public place? What kind of etiquette is expected when you are online? What kind of post should you do, etc. These are life skills which are very, very important. So that's the entire program. This is something that personally I'll be leading. So counseling, helping children with different career pathways. There are many of our kids who have met me who are looking at continuing further studies outside India. Some of them are looking at private new age universities in India. So we are curating a program where we bring some of these universities to SHISHUVAN and create that pathway to ensure children can pursue the course of their choice in the country of their choice. Masterclass is basically something that we started late last year. So kids from our school will get that benefit, because one advantage with SLN is we are already managing a lot of other schools across the country. So that allows a lot of student collaboration. Like last year, we did one collaboration with the Jain school in Bangalore. It's the largest residential school, with one school in Bombay, and our students celebrated Hindi Divas, 14 September, together with that school. So it just gives them an exposure to a different cultural thought process, a different perspective. So currently, because we're managing more than 25 schools, this allows us this unique opportunity of leveraging that and giving our students exposure much beyond, one particular school. Now this is something, because I've been doing counseling for such a long time. When you interact with a lot of universities, especially foreign universities, some of the new age universities like NMIMS, where a lot of our children aspire to get into, what they always find out is that where students are lacking is in terms of soft skills. Academic knowledge, a lot of schools provide. The program, be it ISC, be it CBSE 11th and 12th, all are good in terms of the academic rigor. But what about the soft skill, the personality development? And as I said, that's where we've looked at that Saturday and that program with Ms. Tejal to ensure we can develop that aspect of their personality. Because we think in the time we are living in, that is actually a lot more important just compared to academic skills. So these would be some of the areas that we look at through all the programs to develop, enhancing their communication skills, giving them various platforms and opportunities to express themselves, teamwork, critical mindset, conflict resolution. So the way the curriculum has been planned and the kind of learning engagements are planned, students will implicitly be developing a lot of these profiles over the 2-year program. In terms of recognition, because this was a question that had come up in some of our one-to-one sessions, the program is very well recognized both for further study in India as well as outside India. So just to give you an example, if you apply to United Kingdom has a drop-down of what board have you done in 12th standard. CISC, which is the council, is one of the boards. So obviously it means that the UK UCAS, which is the body which determines admissions for undergraduate programs after class 12, understands and recognizes ISC as an acceptable or an equivalent qualification to IB, A-levels, the other international programs at the +2 level. The only thing is keeping in mind what the child wants to do. So if my child wants to do BA Psychology, BSc Pharmacy, there are certain subject requirements keeping the university in mind. And that's something that Aarti and I do, counsel students to ensure that their subjects are aligned with what they want to study after ISC. Just a summary, so this is again something that I've curated based on my years of experience in terms of finally what is it that universities or colleges are actually looking at. Number one, academic scores. So very, very important that children take even class 11 very, very seriously. Sadly, what happens, class 10 children peak in terms of academics. The results are expected anytime soon. Children will work very, very hard for the 10th board. 11th shows a dip. 12th again. But if you think of yourself as a university, you are looking at a child whose graph is all over and another child whose performance has been consistent. Obviously, I will go for the child whose performance is consistent. That's where this is very, very important. This is something which we'll keep emphasizing over and over again. Subject expertise and understanding, and this is where ISC really stand out because the curriculum content is quite advanced to ensure that children will not have a problem in terms of further study. So it's not that what we do in physics or in accounts is in any which ways lower compared to what the expectation is from colleges. English proficiency, very, very important. So that's where I said communication that we look at. A lot of colleges require English proficiency tests. So we will also be having someone to just help students, the ones who want to apply for IELTS or TOEFL, these proficiency exams, on how to crack those examinations. And the last two, the most important, is extracurriculars and character traits. So through various opportunities in the school, we will ensure that because it's a small cohort that we are starting with. So small group ensures that we can work personally with every child and ensure that we can develop some of their traits. So I know when some parents met me, they said, my child is not very confident or is very, very hesitant to speak in front of a large crowd. So those are the things that we'll work on because of a small group. And in a sense, these 5 things is what a college looks at. So we will also, as part of our program, we'll be having resume writing or CV writing workshops for children, networking workshops, how do you create a LinkedIn profile. So these are things which, again, not a lot of ISC schools do. So keeping our experience of working with international and different schools, different boards, we've curated this entire program to ensure the whole focus is 360 development. Yeah, so I think this is something which I don't need to really get into in terms of why ISC compared to junior college. But I think the biggest challenge more than anything is the curriculum is still so outdated. it's not in line with what the new age universities, what overseas universities are expecting in terms of just the content, the exposure that the thing provides. Second is with college, sadly, and we all know in terms of attendance, etc., what really happens. Here it ensures there is still a structure, there is still a routine that the child is adhering to, and developing the kind of skill sets which are needed for him to succeed. So this was the question which was asked many, many times that, what is the ISC uniform? And the students ask this question a lot more compared to everybody else. So I just thought I'll just put this up, just for everyone. In fact, we were actually trying to get a mannequin today to just display it. Sadly, with the rains, it was a little difficult to get that. So that's the school shirt, and the bottom is denims. So again, because the way we have branded our ISC is ISC Junior College. So we want to give them that feel, a little bit of flexibility, but still discipline, and the other aspects would still be kept intact. Just some of the other basics. So we have all our classrooms for ISC are on the 7th floor. The uniform I've spoken about. Our classes, so we begin from tomorrow. Hopefully BMC doesn't issue any alert for tomorrow, so we can start finally from tomorrow. For the next 3 days, we have an orientation session where children can attend any class. Even if your child doesn't want to do physics or doesn't want to do accounting, let him sit for one class for 40 minutes. Doesn't harm, just to get an understanding, because a lot of children were still confused in terms of what they want to do. So these 3 orientation days would be like subject immersion days, just to get an overview, an idea about what the content is in that subject, how will they be assessed, what kind of career options are there post that subject, etc. So Aarti will be starting off the first session to give them an overview, and then we will have each subject teacher, taking them through. So that will be our schedule, and alternate Saturdays from 9 to 12:15, where the focus would be more on the extracurricular as well as the life skill development. At this time, I would also like to quickly introduce, one of our key lead mentors, someone who's heading SLN and who's been a stalwart in the education field, Farzana ma'am. Farzana ma'am, if you can just come. So Farzana ma'am has again been a stalwart has worked extensively with the council with several leading ICSE schools. She was also the one actually to bring IB to India, International Baccalaureate Board. So that board started almost 20 years back, 2 decades ago. And at that point in time, India just had one school. So she was appointed as the representative to really grow the IB in the country. She worked for more than 16 years. So all the schools, from Dhirubhai Ambani to Oberoi to Pathways in Noida, all the schools have been authorized or affiliated by her. And after 17, 18 years, she decided it's enough. She wanted to go back and help and uplift our national curriculum schools, because ICSE has always been a board which is very, very close to our heart. Yes, ma'am.
So just want to wish everybody a great tidings on Guru Purnima and for the ISC. So thank you to all the trustees for giving these children of grade 10 of SHISHUVAN this opportunity of the ISC. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So before we wrap up, I would just like to quickly get Aarti to come up and just quickly introduce our entire ISC team. We have some new faces, some familiar faces, but overall it's a dynamic, exciting team, and I'm sure your children are going to have a great time. Yes, Ms. Aarti.
Thank you, Hussain sir. The whole of the SHISHUVAN team is very much excited to start the ISC 11th. And when I say SHISHUVAN team, it includes all the dignitaries sitting here, our respected Principal Ma'am Prachi, the SLN team, Hussain sir and his team, and all my great teachers sitting there. So I'll just give a quick review. My name is Aarti. I'm going to teach business studies and economics. I have Tejal Parab. She's going to teach accounts and commerce, as well as she's the SUBW in charge. I have Sanjay, who is going to be teaching physics. Sanjay sir. Come. Sanjay sir, he's going to teach physics, and he's also a part of the event management with Tejal. Then I have Rachna teaching biology. I have Sneha Savant teaching mathematics. Labdi Doshi teaching psychology. I have Fatima teaching English. I have Anam Khan teaching computer science. I have Gitesh sir teaching arts. And Dr. Nilesh, sports teacher. All the kids listening, we are excited. Nilesh sir. Yeah. And we have Sunil teaching chemistry.
I think this is such a perfect Kodak moment, right? Yes. So I think you should also come and... So I think, when some of the parents had met me, this was one of the concerns in terms of, who would be the faculty, qualifications, etc. Do not worry at all, because we also had to communicate with the council. The council is also very particular in terms of the teacher background qualifications. So just this morning, before we started this entire program, we've just sent across all the details of all these teachers to the council, because we are starting the program from tomorrow. So thank you very much once again for joining us. Thank you to the entire management committee for this new program. If any of you would like to touch base with us one-to-one, ask any questions, please feel free after this session. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead. I know it's a rainy day, but nonetheless, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can begin our school from tomorrow. Thank you so much. And just once again, a big thank you to everybody, to all the management committee members, Chandrakant Bhai, Nimesh Bhai, Sudhir Bhai, everyone. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Fee structure, okay. Yes, I thought because, many of you also, the fee structure currently for this academic session is 1,34,000, the annual fee structure. Yeah, that doesn't make a difference. Yeah, so we don't have a separate fee structure depending on the subjects. As I said, the idea is interdisciplinary or cross-disciplinary learning. So whichever subjects you choose, it doesn't make a difference. Sorry? Some of them. Yes, they will. So we've looked at, with Prachi, we've looked at all of those permutations, combinations to ensure. So some of our senior teachers who are HODs already, like our science teachers, so they have been moved, and some of their younger classes, she is adjusted with others to ensure that their workload and they can teach both these sections. And its commerce is where, Aarti and most, because in 9 and 10 we didn't have commerce. So that was the entire, all of that, from psychology to business, economics, all of them are the new teachers. Physics, Sanjay is the new teacher who's just been appointed. So he'll mainly be for ISC and class 10. Great, thank you very much, and looking forward to meeting all of you.
If anybody have doubt about the curriculum or how this class will go, so you can freely ask parents or students sitting over there.
So it'll again depend on what is he looking at doing after class 12. Is my option for further study in India or outside? Now if I do physics, maths in India, any program within engineering requires chemistry. But if I say I want to do data science or I want to do mechanical in America, then physics and maths is fine. So that discussion is something that we have with the child to just understand and then guide what subjects should be done. So ideally, if it's engineering, because children still at this point in time may not be sure whether I'm looking at staying back in India or going outside, physics, chemistry, mathematics is recommended because that keeps all your options open. The moment I drop chemistry, it means I'm narrowing down my choices of mainly looking at going outside India. Yeah. So usually what happens is during the admission, a lot of kids who already met up. And when we had this one-to-one session, a lot of them took admission based on this discussion. So that's, what you can do if you're interested and you've not taken admission yet, you can send an email to Ms. Aarti, and then she will, do a one-to-one call with you to understand what your child is looking at. See, that's how psychology also came into the picture. We were not offering it earlier, but some children and some parents were very, very keen, and that's how we introduced that subject. It's all based on discussion just to understand what the child is actually looking at doing post class 12. There is no at this point. But yeah, when a child who is looking at doing the pure science, because a lot of these teachers have already taught them, and as I said, the science teachers, we do take a feedback from the science teachers, look at their report card, just to ensure that they should be able to cope with the demands of the ISC curriculum. We don't want a child who is, getting a below average score and then coming in and then struggling all through 11th, and at the end of 11th, then there is an uncomfortable conversation that your child is not going to clear. So we don't want to reach that stage. So the admissions have actually started a while back. Yes, for next year you're talking. So the next year we'll actually have a separate session with children. This was just like a very, very brief overview. We will have a separate session like a generic one, like what we did with the current batch of 10th, which gave the ICSE in May this year. We will do the same thing. Then parents who want to meet us on a one-on-one to understand a little more, because in a generic session, I can do similar presentation, but you may have very specific queries for your child, which are better addressed on a one-to-one kind of a level. So that's what we did even with our last batch. So usually the process would start by around September and October first week to ensure that by, sorry? So once we do that, as I said, it depends on which stream, because most of them are our students. We also look at their grade 9 report card. Currently, there is no entrance test or admission test. But as I said, for certain combination of subjects, the child should have got a certain academic aptitude. So that we also take feedback from the existing teachers. Yeah.
Excuse me.
At this point in time, no, it totally depends on how many children, would like to do it. In the last batch, there were only 3 people who raised their hands for humanities. And out of those 3, 2 actually continued with us because we offered psychology, and we curated a combination which probably fulfilled what the child was looking at doing. And this, but political science, history, at this point in time we are not looking at. It depends on if we do get a large number of students, which based on my interaction, the number is very, very small. But psychology will continue to be offered.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
What do you think about integrated colleges right now? The trend is of integrated colleges, comparing with ISC.
So in terms of, the whole focus of integrated college is more in terms of preparation for your entrance examination. The focus of integrated is never about 11 and 12. So it's usually integrated with state board, like with junior college. That's the problem. Now what if you follow, what the government has done, they've removed something called CUET, Common University Entrance Test. Now, Common University Entrance Test, which is based right now only central universities like Delhi University, JNU, etc., using it. Maharashtra, none of the colleges have tied up. That is going to happen in the future. That syllabus is going to be based on 12 standard. So that's where the state boards, not only of Maharashtra, but across the country, because this is a problem with all the state boards. If you go to Telangana, everywhere the state board level, the children who opt for state board is the integrated. But integrated, the focus is that IIT prep. Now, if my focus is that, then that option works better for me. Right.
They would prefer, those who prefer to go for integrated colleges. Right now, if I have my child to go for ISC, will he be preparing for IIT?
So he could prepare for IIT, but as I said, those classes, coaching becomes extra, right? It'll happen after 2:25 in the afternoon. And that's something managing, that load becomes a challenge for some students. That is no doubt about it. That is still challenging for children to prepare both of them simultaneously. But if you're saying I'm looking at one of the private, like Mukesh Patel College of Technology, part of NMIMS. Now those which are, they have their own entrance test, NPAT it's called. For those, this program works really well because the kind of foundation, if you look at the content of physics, chem, bio, and you compare the actual content with state board, that's where you see. Sadly, the focus in integrated is only cracking the JEE. It's not about, mastering content in 11 and 12. So, it's like two different this. Yeah. So when we look at Germany, Germany has certain specific language requirements that you need to fulfill. So you have to do German, and that's usually A1 level, which you need to do a separate course. Some children do that course along with ISC so that you can fulfill. There is Max Muller, etc., where you can do that course. But if I look at any other country, even Japan, now the problem with Germany and Japan is most of the top universities are actually not in English. So in Germany, if you go, the number of colleges which are international, where the language of instruction is English, is not too many. There are, so a lot of kids where they look at Germany is mainly automobile design and engineering. Because that's what Germany is renowned for. But the challenge is the language. But eligibility-wise, no problem. In terms of making them eligible, the content, etc., there is no issue in terms of recognition of the program. There is no issue at all. Because it's like CBSE, right? It's a national. ICSE is not a state, it's a national board. So that's why ICSE and CBSE have recognition. Plus ICSE also has schools outside. They have schools in Middle East, etc. So always the recognition. A lot of those children don't come back to India for further studies. They go to different parts of the world. So that's never a challenge. Plus, even if you look at Bombay, right? There are a lot of old schools which are offering, like Cathedral, Jamnabai, etc., where a lot of kids are anyway going overseas after 12. So it's never that because of the board they have been rejected admission for a foreign college. Yeah. Yes. So the maximum limit would be between 25 to 30. But obviously this being our first batch, currently this cohort would be small. It'll be around 10 to 15 kids in this first year. Correct. So we allow them, yes. So we allow them, correct. So we allow kids to switch for the first 6 to 7 weeks because by end of August, we have to let council know, we have to do a registration for 12th standard board exam. So it's till end of August where the switching is allowed. So that's the reason we've planned this orientation because we've not had one-to-one. Correct. Correct. As I said, that's something which came on later. Even if you recall, like commerce, what you saw, commerce was not there initially. Earlier, we had business, eco, and accounts. Commerce has come in subsequently. So, what happened is, one is we looked at, when we were meeting people, what was the kind of, feedback that we were getting. Second is when we did. No, even outside. I've met many parents from outside also. That's how, this. So, and the other was in terms of the teaching faculty. So when we finally got the faculty, we realized that some of these people could actually do business commerce together. So I can offer one more subject which gives students a little more flexibility in terms of what they want to do. Welcome. Yes.
For a student who is doing pure sciences,
Right.
PCMB basically, it will be an issue cracking the NEET because then will the portion match or they have to do it differently?
So a lot of topics do match, but they will see what happens with any of these, right? It's cracking the exam, the entrance, the assessment, which is where the entrance is required, means the coaching is required.
Right.
So coaching will be required for NEET or for any of these competitive entrance like JEE, mains, etc. It will be required.
And what about...
So it's not about the content, it's about, in a certain duration to crack that exam.
Yes,
like see, when children apply for America, there is something called the SAT exam, SAT. Same thing, right? The SAT exam also you need coaching to crack the exam because it's a 2-hour, 45-minute paper. There are 4 sections in SAT.
Right.
And it's similar, if you look at the structure, is very similar to how our entrance exams are. To crack it, what are the strategies and the tips? That's what the coaching really helps you in terms of mastery. So that you can, in that duration, you can actually crack the paper.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
So before we sign off, there are doubts about our 11th and 12th, but उनके लिए मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि रख हौसला वो मंजर भी आएगा, प्यासे के पास चलकर समंदर भी आएगा, थक कर न बैठ ए मंजिल के मुसाफिर, मंजिल भी मिलेगी और मिलने का मजा भी आएगा. तो with this we end this session, and for further queries or further doubt or further clarification, you can always contact Hussain sir or any of the teacher or maybe principal or me, management. So the school will start from tomorrow, and all the best to all the children who are starting their new chapter of life by tomorrow. Thank you very much. एक मैनेजमेंट, प्लीज कम फॉर द पिक्चर, फॉर द फोटो.